Welcome back to Market on Close. Apple earnings now our focus. It's 3:29 in Chicago, which means we should have about 20 seconds here until the number comes out. Back with me, Mr. Kevin Green, and joining him, Mr. George Tsilis. What's up, guys? GT, we got a big report coming out. George, is there any way Apple at its most expensive valuation basically ever can satisfy?
This is a tough one, OJ. Obviously, I think you guys talked about the valuation just a moment ago, and I agree. If you look at the forward earnings, at least for this year, 34 times, even next year, 30 times, it's expensive. But there is a silver lining. If you look at the growth rates, obviously they're expected to resume positive trend revenue growth. I mean, if you go back.
Hey, George, number just came out. Hold on. Let me grab this real quick from you. You're totally right, though. You hit the main point I needed you to. This is a return to growth this quarter after the company had spent a year in decline. Revenues $85.78 billion for their fiscal third. Street was expecting 84.5. Okay, there we go. Nice. $1 billion beat. That's a good start. $1 billion beat, return to growth. iPhone revenue 39.3. Street expecting 38.95. Trailing numbers seem solid. 5-cent beat on the EPS, $1.40 versus $1.35. Kevin, that all check out with you. I guess that's a good start.
Yes, it is. And when you're looking at China net sales coming in at $14.73 billion, and they actually did see an increase on a constant currency basis of around 3%. So that's also an area that the market's been focusing on. iPad sales coming in at $7.16 billion, Street's estimate $6.61 billion. And when you're looking at Mac sales, actually, that's the only segment that I see that did miss. Mac sales came in just shy of the estimate, $7.01 billion. Street was looking for $7.02 billion. And wearables had a shocking beat here. That actually has been a very soft business for them over the last couple of quarters. That came in at $8.1 billion. Street was looking for $7.79 billion. So overall, this is actually a really good quarter. And it does appear that the concerns around China may be abating here in the near term. We have some industry data that might be indicating this as well. It looks like they're following up with that. And that is actually going to be a very big bright spot, as we know that we have seen a delay when it comes to the AI rollout into next year for some of their major products. And if that's something that they can actually front run, this is actually a really decent report, and this could turn around the broader market around.
Yeah, this is definitely the best chance it seems we've had, George, to take a pretty just clear-cut positive narrative, right? There's not a lot of catches, this caveats. Now, again, valuation thing, I feel like is a monster to contend with, but these numbers are at least good.
Yeah, they are. And so there's a lot going on here, but a couple things, because Kevin mentioned China. If you look at June's report for the month, they actually demonstrated positive growth of about 10.9% compared to the same month last year. But last quarter, they did talk about a decline of about 8.9%. Everyone looks at rates from a macro-centric standpoint. If rates come down, that should be a boom for China. And I think that you have to consider Apple as a big grower or a growth story in China. They don't have much market share outside the United States, about 18% total global. They have lots of room to grow. I think if you look at the profit margins of Apple, not the growth rate, but the profit margins, they've been increasing, and that's been offsetting the declining sales and revenue growth. I mean, the revenue and EPS growth. But at the same time, I think Apple's strategy, and I could be wrong here, I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to Apple's products or even their stock or their company. But I think their strategy is to lower prices. And by doing that, they'll essentially increase volume of sales, because now it's not the utility. You guys talked about the utility of phones. It's not just the product, it's the service. And that's an important component growth story for Apple that, again, is less cyclical than product. So, again, there's a lot of things going on with Apple itself. But, I think China will be a growth story going forward for this particular name.
It's a good point on the services side, because the margin was up 9%. So that's really solid relative to revenue growth of less than 5%. So the margin's growing there at a much faster clip, to your point. Yeah. When I think about services, I think about the interconnectedness of all the products, but the wearables category, accessories, home, that did decline a little bit. I wonder, KG, if that's kind of just a place where folks might cut back a little spending. Maybe we're not selling as many Apple watches the last quarter.
Well, like I talked about earlier, there has been a soft segment, but if
Been
you're able to
soft.
exceed the street's expectations, I think that's a win amongst
Okay.
some of the other headwinds that they've seen over the near term here. Let's go back to services, though. We have to
Okay.
kind of applaud Apple for their strategy. They continue to try to expand their services business as well as trying to expand the mix between hardware and software. And if we actually match that to some other software and services type of companies, they're a little bit less cyclical than hardware, which is going to be a tailwind for them in the long term. They don't have to worry about economic headwinds as much as you are seeing with the hardware side. And when you're looking at their margins, they're sitting at around 70%. So every incremental dollar that they are getting in revenue on the services side is a lot more beneficial, or 2 times more beneficial than every dollar spent on hardware. And if they can perfect that right mix of maybe a 60-40 or whatever the proper mix is for them, I think that's going to be good for them over the long term. They won't have to worry so much about the hardware cycles and these super cycles that people have been waiting on for the last 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. Super cycles got a lot of connotation to it, and it seems like that still is very much up to be determined. I think the call here and anything they tell us in more detail about that next suite of phones and the AI capabilities, I feel like that's going to be the determinant of whether or not this thing really takes off from here, George.
Well, I think so. And look, what actually happened and what caused the stock to break out is AI, and it's not a function of Apple, developing their own AI technologies. They
Exactly.
actually adopted OpenAI's AI technology. That's a great strategy. If you can't do something better than a competitor, you adopt your competitor's product into your ecosystem. That's what they've done. That's what I suggest is possibly creating that a higher multiple, alongside the fact that this is essentially a utility, and utilities are profitable monopolies. So therefore, maybe it should trade at a higher multiple. I can't say if that's going to be the case, but you have to consider that as a possibility.
Yeah. Okay. The number I think right now is good enough to basically, stop the bleeding for a moment here. The iPhone sales down 1%. Can we spin that in a positive way, Kevin? Because it means more people are ready to upgrade. I like that bull logic.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially when you're kind of looking at the China data. And so there's a report about 2 weeks ago where it showed that they lost around 2% market share in China. So, I mean, if you're still, once again, exceeding the street's expectations, all we care about right now is whatever the analysts put up. And if Apple is able to beat them, that's what has been moving stocks to the upside or downside. So when you're looking at the year-over-year numbers or the year-over-year comps, some of those comps are going to be fairly lofty. And actually, at the latter half of this year, Apple's comps when it comes to top line is going to be fairly easy. So they actually are on a downhill trajectory here when it comes to the comparables on a year-over-year basis. I think that's really good. Also, when you're kind of looking at the iPhone sale or the sales in general, when you're talking about geographic regions, in the Americas they beat, in the European sales they beat. I mean, you're not really seeing any type of weakness compared to what the expectations were. The last thing I want to kind of highlight, we continue to kind of gel together the fact that you have to have a hardware product in order to access the services. And I think we have to get away from that narrative. There's a lot of services that they provide where you do not have to have a hardware product. And that's where I was kind of going back to earlier, where that's where they're going to be profitable. Bring people into your ecosystem through the software side and the services side. And you really don't have to worry about the hardware side because the margins on the software is going to be a lot more profitable anyway.
Like what Apple TV? It's just a software, right? I don't have to have an actual TV.
Yeah. Exactly. I can have an I do. I have Amazon TV or whatever, and I still have Apple TV on it. And I mean, that's the kind of the stuff that you really want to be able to integrate into existing hardware. So you don't have to build everything from the ground up. Leverage other hardware products that are out there in order to expand the services business. And I think that's going to be ultimately a win for them.
Okay. All right. Nice. Apple's definitely got a lot up its sleeve, right? I mean, tons of different ways to make money. That's why it is what it is, why it's so important, why we stretch our show an extra 30 minutes, because it's such a good look at so much. Here's the thing, though. I'm like broken record at this point, George. The earnings beat basically by 5%. So if we just take that out of the valuation, then that basically goes from like 35 to 33.5. I don't know if that's going to be reassuring if we don't get a good employment print tomorrow to make us all warm and cozy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think, this alongside the employment report is going to be, critical to see if we, erase what we've seen in the last day, or at least today. I mean, this week has been pretty much neutral, if you look at it in the context compared to Friday of last week, but nonetheless really volatile. So I'm not going to be able to beat what Kevin says, because at the end of the day he's right. I think what I think is important here is for Apple itself is not necessarily the revenues in dollars for iPhone sales, it's the unit growth, because the more distribution they have of hardware, the more ecosystem growth they have, and that's a higher margin component of its business. And lastly, I agree with Kevin as well here. If you look at the bar, which is very low set for revenue and earnings growth going forward, it's not necessarily hard to beat. So, that might be sort of an implied catalyst for a continuation in this name.
Hey, in the connection to the macro, last point, George, I'm going to throw it back to you real quick to connect those dots for us. How acyclical is the iPhone these days? Like, will it correlate to jobs in the economy, or do the telecom companies and the providers give so many discounts people can just pay in installments for generations?
Well, look, I think your previous guest brought up a great point. I think this is the last line of what consumers will give up at the end of the day. So there may be less cyclicality in this particular stock than people really think.
All right. KG, quick thought on that?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think you can directly correlate iPhone sales to especially U.S. economic growth, because if that was the case, then we would have been able to highlight what was happening over in China. And then once again, it's all about the product mix. And if they continue to focus on services, they should be able to stave off any type of economic headwinds in the future, or at least have a little bit of a dampening effect when it comes to their profitability.
All right, hopefully the call's fun. We get some more details on what the application is going to be. Thank you, Mr. Kevin Green. Thank you, Mr. George Tsilis. Great stuff. Thanks for the analysis, guys.